Tomorrow night marks 40 years since an American turning point. President Richard Nixon told the world he would resign the next day. A rarely seen interview with Nixon and behind-the-scenes photographs reveal more about those fateful last days. Ben Tracy talked with the two men who captured those moments. It's a story you will see only on CBS This Morning.
To leave office before my term is completed is abhorrent to every instinct in my body.
We've heard what President Nixon said when he announced his resignation.
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
But we did not know what he was thinking until now.
I just didn't want to quit. Also, I thought it would be an admission of guilt, which of course it was. And also, I felt that it would set a terribly bad precedent for the future.
That revelation comes from an interview Nixon did with his former White House aide Frank Gannon in 1983, nearly 10 years after he resigned. This week, the Nixon Presidential Library is releasing segments of the 36 hours Gannon spent talking with his former boss. 36 hours is a very long time to sit and talk with someone. What surprised you most about his responses?
I was surprised at how relaxed he was and how open he was, how emotional he was. With Nixon, that's a finely calibrated thing.
Sure, we've done some things wrong in this administration.
The president says First Lady Pat Nixon tried to convince him to stay in office, even while she packed their belongings.
For 3 days, from Monday night until we left on Friday morning, she didn't sleep at all, packing 5.5 years of clothes and other mementos.
The Nixons gathered their family, including daughters Julie and Tricia, for a final photo shoot before they left the White House.
Tears were brimming in virtually everybody's eyes. And then, after he snapped that picture, Julie just couldn't hold in the tears any longer. She rushed over to me and threw her arms around me and said, "I love you so much, Daddy." Well, by that time, I couldn't say much either.
They believed in him, they loved him, they knew what he wanted, which was to stay and fight and make his case.
Mr. Nixon, as he leaves the White House here to board the helicopter.
In a moment that has now become iconic, the president boarded his helicopter on the White House's South Lawn.
This was the highest possible drama.
Pulitzer Prize-winning photographer David Hume Kennerly was covering Nixon's departure for Time magazine.
That's the shot. But it took me 30 years to figure that out.
Kennerly says of all the photos he took that day, this image is the one most people remember. But it's this one that he thinks captures how Nixon really felt.
The first frame as he got up on the step and looked back at the White House, and he knows that's the last time he's going to see it as President of the United States. It was a very bitter moment, and that picture nailed it. A few minutes later, Gerald R. Ford becomes President of the United States.
And David Hume Kennerly became Ford's official White House photographer. What are the defining images that you captured of President Ford in those first couple of days?
I think the most telling image really is him in the Oval Office, his foot up on the desk, but in the background are all the empty shelves. All of the Nixon stuff had been taken out, but none of the Ford things had been put in there.
Kennerly went on to capture candid moments of Ford's first week as president, including the First Lady in curlers at the breakfast table and seeing her husband off to work before they moved into the White House.
Mrs. Ford might as well be saying, "Honey, have a great day and pick up the dry cleaning on the way back."
A bright moment in a very dark time. What lingers is the image of a forced smile and a former president who had lost everything.
Maybe in that moment he felt like it was a campaign stop, but it was the last stop in his presidency.
I hope no other president ever resigns under any circumstances.
For CBS This Morning, Ben Tracy, Los Angeles.
Boy,
just amazing, you know, and given that it's 40 years, we're still learning more and more.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I mean, history is so exciting because we're constantly learning something new.
Yeah, and to have him guide us through the pictures, too, I thought was also interesting. That shot of Nixon getting on the helicopter and the empty shelves. I never noticed empty shelves before. Nice.
I've traveled with David Hume Kennerly. I was with him in Afghanistan right after 9/11. The man has lots of history in his, from his camera. Beautiful stuff. Great piece, Ben. Thank you so much.